Abstract and Refinement. The top-down approach is literally what it sounds like. In a project, we would use this approach by looking at what our final outcome is and slowly working our way down and identifying everything that needs to be achieved to be able to obtain the final outcome. And then we would look at how we accomplish what needs to be achieved. In terms of programming, we would look at this approach by outlining what a program needs to be able to accomplish, and would break it down by looking at what modules we would need and what's inside the modules. A system suite refers to a collection of programs. A suite is what holds the programs. A better term for suite would be operating system. Operating systems control and manage both hardware and software. The operating system provides a surface for the software application to run on. A common example of an operating system, as we all probably know by now, Microsoft Windows and Apple Mac OS. The programs are stored and can be manipulated with the operating system which is storing it. This is the relationship between systems and programs. Once we have identified what our program's purpose is, we then start to identify what needs to be accomplished within the program by looking at the individual processes that needs to take place. This is what we would start to recognize as a module. To the left is an example of how to make a pot of tea. The final outcome, as we can understand from this flowchart, is to make tea, and in between the start and end process are the steps to making the tea. A module's relationship to a program is that it helps to achieve key components of the program's function in the final outcome. In our following software design project, we are creating a game. The game is what we recognize as the program. This game has multiple modules consisting of algorithms that help the game to function. This module that has been incorporated in our game allows our players to move in between the levels that are available to them. It first recognizes if the levels before has been complete, and if it has, it further proceeds to load the next level, or it would inform the player that the level is still locked. Our game is not made of just one module, but instead multiple modules, which each module having a purpose within the game, whether it would be for a movement, a store, or opening a map, or when a coin has been collected. When all these modules are working together at the same time, we have a complete game.
Subroutines and their relationship with modules. A module is like a package where you can keep your functions and subroutines. In case you are writing a very big program, or your functions or subroutines can be used in more than one program, the structure of a module is almost identical to the structure of a program. Consequently, a module does not contain statements to be executed as in a program. A module can only contain functions to be used by other modules and programs. This is perhaps one of the most important differences. As a result, a module cannot exist alone. It must be used with other modules and the main program. What is a subroutine? Subroutines, also known as subprograms, are complete part programs that are used from within the main program section. They use refinement to develop solutions to problems that are easy to follow. Sections of the solution are developed and presented in understandable chunks, and because of this, subprograms are particularly useful when using the top-down method of solution development.
As a system is comprised of a multitude of program and module, the module communicate with each other from a coherent system. For context, the four main modules in focus are player movement, player collider, coin collecting, and the shop. As Lachlan going to take you into more detail and further explanation. An example from our game is how the player controller is its own module and needs no other modules to run. It is in charge of all elements in regarding to the player's movement, and the player movement is communicating with Unity's collision components which we can take advantage of. We take advantage of the player controller module to detect collision with objects such as our coins within our game environment. There is a necessary relationship for the coin module and is like commensalism for you bio nerds, where the coin module is benefited from the movement module, but the movement module is neither benefited or harmed. The shop module relies on the coin module, And through this, an indirect relationship between the movement module and the shop module is created, because without that middleman in there, it all falls apart. As shown here. There's a huge module. There's like the shop module is a huge and complex system. I'm actually quite lost. I'm sorry. I'll just talk about what this sort of is. So the player controller is, like I said, it's its own system within itself, and it doesn't really need anything else. But then there's this necessary relationship created within other modules with each other. And our main focus, I guess the main focus of this one is the shop, being that the shop relies on the coin module for pricing, things like that. The shop has its own little module running. In the top right, as you can see, that's not actually connected to the shop, but it's called a pawn. And it's kind of a bit blurry, but the third in the shop module, there's a box with the 2 lines on the side, and that's like a subroutine in itself, like Philip was saying. I don't know where this script is going. An easier way to understand this for some is to imagine the house as the roof relies on the walls, and the walls relies on the bricks to stay up. The bricks rely on the cement slab. Without the slab, the roof would cave in. There is an indirect relationship between the roof and slab through the brick wall. System which rely on other non-code basis assets such as file and other media needs to incorporate this into the data flow. When any game needs a texture or an asset which is encoded, the system must call upon these. For example, in Minecraft, the game calls upon the grass texture when the player has a grass block in their viewpoint.